Chellie Pingree joins us on the phone this morning on the Coast Morning Show from Washington, D.C., where President Obama just finished his first 100 days in office. And actually, Chellie, you're pretty much done with your first 100 days in office, too, aren't you?
That's right. I finished my first 100 days earlier, and I just want to note that no one seemed to take notice. No one delivered a cake or anything else. So apparently, I didn't get that much done.
Oh, well,
for she's a jolly good congresswoman. She's a jolly good congresswoman. For she's a jolly good congresswoman. Chellie is in Congress.
Wait, next time I'm calling you guys.
Thank you.
Very good. We're
you.
good for the egos of other people because, everybody else is pretty much doing better than us. So listen, Chellie, congratulations. And this credit card holders Bill of Rights thing, I know is something you've been working on. And, what a great relief it would be to people who have some credit card problems right now.
Well, let's face it. I mean, if you haven't had a problem with your credit card company, I don't know, you got to be living on some other planet.
Right.
Or you at least know somebody who, thought the interest rate was going to be something, and then they switched it, or, there's, 5 pages of fine print. It shouldn't have to be that way. So it seems like about time, particularly in this economy where so many people, they're between jobs or they're falling behind. They put their health care bills on their credit card, their food, their gas bill. It pretty much happens to everybody, and it's even worse if you're young and you get solicited in college for 5 different cards, and before you know it, you're way in over your head.
Right. And the only way to really protect people is to put in on measures like this, because as we know, when you're in college, you get offered those cards. Sometimes your impulses take over, and you shouldn't get those cards when you're 18 years old, but you do, and all of a sudden you're just in hock for the rest of your life or for a very long time.
Exactly. But, it's not just college kids. It's really everybody. And this is an industry that's kind of had its own way for a long time. So hopefully this bill, which will be debated all day today, will give a little bit more protection to the consumer, as it should be. So,
Chellie, when would that go into effect, though?
That is a good question. I don't think I can even answer it. Being a new member of Congress, I'm not sure exactly how long this particular bill would take, but I'll find out by the end of the day.
It sounds like people are hurting right now. I go on a lot of these financial message boards, and it just seems counterproductive for people who are barely hanging on, and then they're the ones that are getting hit with these interest rates and the credit limit drops. And so the credit card companies, these people are now defaulting rather than paying, 8% interest. They raise it to 30%, and now they can't make their minimum payment, so they're not paying anything. It just seems counterproductive to the credit card companies. They'd at least want to get the 8 or 10% versus trying to gouge the 30%.
Yeah, I like to think that bringing a little bit more order to this whole process will be good for the industry, too. There's a lot of talk that this will be kind of the next subprime crisis, that there'll be a huge write-down of debt in the credit card companies because, in a way, they too have pushed, they've pushed people's debt limits. They've encouraged you to get more cards, whether you're credit-worthy or not. you open up your mailbox. Right. Sometimes you get a solicitation to your dog, or they're not doing a credit check before you get that letter in the mail.
Right.
And there's a lot of practices that go on. We've heard a lot about deceptive practices. They call you, they push you to put money in your checking account. It's really a little bit scary when you hear about how it gets done. So I think it's a great time to bring a little control to that, especially in this difficult economy. Like I said, so many more people turn to their credit cards, and as you said, these are often the people who shouldn't be paying the high interest rates.
Chellie Pingree joining us this morning here on the Coast Morning Show. Did you happen to catch any of President Obama's press conference last night?
I missed some of it because I was out, but I've watched a lot of the recap, and we're lucky enough down here. We actually get to see the president once in a while, so we have been watching his first 100 days. Right,
exactly. Well, I was looking for it on Fox, and of course, American Idol was on instead because that's much more important.
I heard they didn't want to take it, but you got to have priorities.
Better priority, priorities for him. Obviously, you're a Democrat, he's a Democrat. You guys are both new to the office, relatively. How do you think he's done so far?
Well, you got to admit, whatever party you're in, and whether you agree with everything that he does or not, this is a president who's been hit with everything. A bad economy. Now we got a potential flu crisis. Right. Started with 2 wars, and he made a lot of promises. He said, "I'm going to take on health care. I'm going to do something about energy self-sufficiency." And I got to give him credit. We just passed his budget yesterday. It's got the money in there for a health care plan. It's got the money in there for energy. Renewable energy sources, like the kinds of things we want to bring more of in Maine, wind power and other things. He's put a lot of money back into the states. Clearly not enough. You can imagine, I hear from my daughter, Hannah, you got to send a little more money to Maine, Mom.
Right.
But, he's done a lot of that. So I think it's impressive what he's done. And I like his style. I really I think he's straightforward with the American public. Everybody likes the family. And I can tell you, when he comes to meet with our caucus, he doesn't hold back with Democrats or Republicans. If he doesn't agree with us, he puts it right out there. He fights for the things he believes in. And I think he scored a lot of points with the American people, and you can see it in the polling numbers.
Right, and also internationally as well. Which you can't really knock the efforts too of. He's trying to reestablish some communications and lines of communications that have been really just non-existent for the past 8+ years in a lot of cases.
Exactly, and again, everybody doesn't agree with everything that he goes about doing, right. But I think he's really given people a sense of confidence that even the days you don't agree with him, he's trying, that he's smart. One of my favorite things is he does these little receptions at the White House where basically he invites Republicans and Democrats over for a beer. And my thinking is, here's a guy who, Republicans can vote against him. A lot of Democrats vote against him on some of his bills. Mm-hmm. And he says, I don't care, vote against me, do what you got to do, but, why don't you come over for a beer? Let's just talk about it. And he really does. Right. He invites Republicans and Democrats together. There's no of this, if you're not my party, you're not coming to the party. I think it's great.
Yeah.
Chellie Pingree joining the Coast Morning Show. Love talking to you, Chellie. And I love you.
Aww.
But I got to say,
are you a Pilates instructor? That's just the only thing I got to know here.
Yes, I got my certification in the mail yesterday.
Oh, this is a big... Then we should be celebrating your day.
Well, you know what? We can. First of all, Chellie, I got to ask you because, I really pay attention, especially where this whole financial crisis is going on. I'm just fascinated by the whole thing of how we got here. But I really feel as Joe, middle-class consumer, that somehow, the upper echelon, the working tier, are getting some kind of a pass. It's like we can't interrupt their lifestyle. And the rest of us are just are drowning here, Mm-hmm. losing jobs, and some people are having to take pay cuts and things like that, where it seems like other people are sort of be given a pass. And I understand how important it is to keep the financial doors flowing and all that. But I mean, can you people say, well, it's not the president, it's Congress. You should take it up with your Congress people. They're the ones that signed off on the stimulus and this and that. So what would you say to people like me who are just like, God, I can't. Where's my relief?
Yeah, I completely agree, and that was one of the hardest things coming in because, even before I got here, Congress had passed the legislation to help out the banks, a lot of the big financial services industry, and I think, even the members of Congress who were here before were shocked to see the big companies, the AIG, the other companies, still giving out bonuses. Going on expensive retreats. I think the first 3 months in that way has been just shocking to people. Here Congress is put in this position of really taking billions and billions of your taxpayer dollars to back up what was just a completely caving financial system of full of excesses and full of things that should have been regulated a long time ago. And then and then feeling like none of these companies realized, the magnitude of what the American public was doing. At the same time, that the average citizen is being told, "Oh, we can't afford to have a universal health care plan in this
right.
country. There's just not enough money."
Right.
I totally agree. It seems crazy. It seems crazy to see what our state legislature has to do now to just make one cut after another to schools, to health care in our own state. I understand how complicated and awful this has been, and my only hope is that, with something like the president's budget, where we've put $630 billion in there to say, look, health care ought to be a basic right in this mm-hmm. country, and it would have a huge economic impact on people and really help people out, we're moving in the right direction. The president put a middle-class tax cut into the budget. But, it's amazing to me. We still have a lot of members of Congress who fight us on all that. Things like the credit card bill. I can't believe yesterday in some of our committee debate, how people were still defending the credit card companies. Right. When, basically that's highway robbery when they charge you 29% and you're somebody who just lost your job or you're struggling at your job to make ends meet, so you put a few things on your credit card.
Mm-hmm.
I agree, and
right.
It does seem skewed.
If we're all going to take the hit, then we all are going to take the hit, not just, the emperor's naked and none of us are calling him out on it. So I just wanted to say that because, I get so upset and I can only yell at Tim and Coast Nation, so now I can share that with you.
Yeah, so
you can call anytime. Anytime you see something that just looks out of whack.
Welcome to the Eva Yelling Club, Chellie.